B-rated movies.
Welcome to B-rated movies. I'm Anthony.
What's going on, everybody? This is Brian.
You had me in suspense.
I'm going to be a, what do you call it? A news broadcaster. That's what I'm ultimately going for. You know?
Shocknick.
Right? Just take a pause after everything. Like, Anthony, can I get something to drink? I'm like, what? Why do you talk like that? Damn it. I feel like I already missed my prime to become a soap opera actor with those dramatic pauses. So I'm kind of shooting for the weather. The weather
do like
announcer.
a William Shatner deal. Star Trek Law.
Let's go off on it like that.
Yeah. But so this is a special interview episode where we interviewed Dave Sheridan. Dave
Sheridan.
Covered a couple movies with him. We did Camp Twilight, where he was
Ranger Bob. Oh, Ranger Bob.
Ranger
Dang
Bob.
And,
Bob,
that's all you need to know.
Yeah, and Bloody Summer Camp. Bloody Summer Camp. I almost said the other one.
Yeah.
I keep catching myself. Where he played Sheriff
Wilmore.
Sheriff Wilmore.
Hell yeah, he did.
He was also. Oh yeah, go ahead.
With Sheriff Wilmore, he berated the shit out of those suspects, man.
Blair Tooney and Mrs. Garrett.
If you have not seen Bloody Summer Camp, you need to see that movie. See the movie, and then
be disappointed.
Listen to the episode. And same with Camp Twilight. Camp Twilight. Watch that. Listen to the episode. And because of those movies, we were able to sit down and talk with Dave Sheridan.
Dave Sheridan, who is a delight. He is one of the funniest people I think I've talked to
in your entire life.
He's pretty.
No, he's up there. He was.
Yeah, he's really up there.
The interview I don't even think it was an interview, man. Like, that's how cool the guy was. I mean, we just sat there and talked. Amazing.
It felt like a conversation. I don't think we asked a lot of questions. I think he just kind of talked about, his work and all that, and it was just an open book.
Yeah, super cool. Often? Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, that was it. Super cool guy. Like, that's it, Just the fact that he has done so many movies, like, we'll put some movies in there, but, Scary Movie, Haunted House, Camp Twilight, The Bloody Summer Camp, Reservoir Dogs. No, right? No,
he was The Devil's Rejects.
Devil's Rejects. Bubble Boy.
Boy.
The list, it just goes on and on and on, But the fact that he even was like, dude, I'll sit down with you guys and just talk. Amazing.
I was like in it, like halfway believing this probably could, like, there are things that could happen that could make this interview not happen. But
him look at us.
Disbelief. Yeah. Who are we?
He could just look at right. He'd be like, I saw you guys' memojis on Instagram, and I don't feel comfortable interviewing or talking to you guys. Sorry.
Yeah.
Please lose my number.
Yeah. I mean, a lot could have happened, but we interviewed him. He was great, and enjoy the interview.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you, man.
Thank you.
That's awesome. There you go. So
don't put this, kids. Don't start. You can never quit. Don't do it. Yeah, I was smoking cigarettes for many years, and then it was like, oh, I should vape. Maybe that'll help me quit cigarettes. It's actually worse because you can do this everywhere. I do it on the airplane. I do it in the elevators. I do it in bed. I did it at the dentist office today. He was cleaning my teeth. I'm like, hold on a second.
There you go.
Okay, thanks. I need to know it. It's like,
It's the convenience.
yeah,
That's what's going on.
it's like a little baby when you can either they suck their thumbs or you can give them like a binky or whatever you want to call it, a little pacifier. The pacifiers are always better because eventually you can take those away, but you can't take a baby's thumb away. So
I mean, technically,
I mean,
right?
that would be a good
No.
horror movie about a guy that's hired to chop off baby thumbs.
It's
Called
like
Baby Thumbs.
right.
Short film.
It's like, why can't you just get winged off of this?
Yeah,
He's like, well, there's only one way.
I'll tell you how I know how to do it. I was that guy.
Mhm. At the end, he like looks down and he has what is it? Do they chop off your is it your index toe? Or is it your big toe? And they replace it. He's like, look at me. Yeah. Look at me.
Big toe. I've never really encountered anybody that's had the big toe because they got their thumb cut off in like a deli cutting accident or something like that, wood shop accident. That would be weird, right? Like,
no, I actually saw a video today actually on Instagram. There's like, look at this dude, and like I thought that I've seen like that. There's a video years ago where that person was feeding like those big ass like fish, like looks like he was feeding them hot dogs. Oh, and it freaking just did that one quick bite,
and it bit his thumb off.
And so then there's like, this is how you fix it. And then it like looked down, he ended up having like, one of his toes. But I swear, I don't know. Anthony and I, we always say this stuff.
I've got all my parts and pieces still because I'm such a prankster. I probably would have been feeding that fish with like out of my crotch or something. Like, look at it. Oh, don't worry. We can put a big toe on you. Like,
yeah. What? You can be like Mr. Garrison, have it growing off of the back of a mouse, and then. But I think we even got to introduce everything. Yeah.
Oh, we don't
podcasts.
Oh, this is berated B-rated movies.
Oh, okay.
We watch independent horror movies, and we do like movie talk throughs, and
you yell at the movies as they're going.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So do you ever have someone like me on live when we watch something together then too, like one of my own crappy films?
We haven't yet, but we could.
We should do something like that.
Yeah.
No, we had Dylan Reynolds. He did a live episode with us.
Oh yeah, he did, but it wasn't his movie.
But it wasn't his movie.
It was like one of his favorites.
Because I pitched something to Felissa because Felissa Rose and myself have made like 32 movies together. A lot of them are sort of released. They get released to like streaming, but they don't even get made on DVD anymore. And I was like, oh, we should do a show called Shudder's Shitter Bin and just like have our own, but it's just our own movies. Because the thing with like a Shudder, like she's on Joe Bob. She's actually filming Joe Bob right now. And like season 5 or something. And one of the things that holds him back is getting the rights to even have the movies, because some movies, people are like, why don't they have this movie or that movie? It's like because they don't have the budget to pay for legitimately more known movies, you know what I mean? So he's sort of relegated to finding cult and cool movies to have on his show. And I was like, yeah, but our movies will be free because we own them. And then we could just have all of our friends that acted in them come in and just badmouth ourselves on how crappy the movie is.
No, that's going to be one of our questions, or one of my questions, like, so honestly, we watched Bloody Summer Camp.
Yes.
And dude, Sheriff Wilmore, we're just like, dude, this dude is amazing. This dude is so like, every street in that neighborhood, that town is safe because of that guy.
Yeah.
Like Sheriff Wilmore was amazing. And Anthony and I were talking, we're just like, dude, like that guy looks so familiar, And so we're like, I swear to God, we've seen him, but like, we'll get back to like, we couldn't figure out where, like couldn't pinpoint exactly like who the hell is Wilmore. And so, we were talking, we're like, dude, we need to, talk to somebody and be like, you need to just make a spinoff where it's only about Sheriff Wilmore and his ability to interrogate people in a line and just make fun of them and get the answers out of them. And so we looked you up, and dude, it was just like a freaking rabbit hole of just going down and seeing all these movies and all these movies and all these movies. And we're just like, holy shit, like for sure, Doofy, best one from Scary Movie.
Yeah.
Dude. And we're just like, holy shit. And you know, everything. And so one of my questions for you was like, I've seen that you've done a ton of like comedies, and then you've also done a bunch of horror movies. Like, is there one that you want to do? And so I know that you just said, like, you know, you just get with all your friends, and then it's basically, like, I'm just guessing that it's just nonstop fun no matter which one you're doing.
Oh, yeah. So are you saying, is there a genre that I want to do over one or the other, or a specific project?
No, like, is there one that you like doing more now?
Oh, genre wise? Well, I mean, I'm a trained comedian, you know, from the Second City in Chicago, and I worked on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
Prior, I was like the only guy that actually had a job at Saturday Night Live and went to Second City, where most people go to Second City first and then work their way up to Saturday Night Live. So yeah, I mean, like, I started in comedy, and I guess but luckily my first film though was technically a spoof of a horror genre, you know, like with Scream, that Scary Movie was. So at the same time, like at these horror conventions, my biggest draw is still Scary Movie, because I was also Ghostface in that film and played the voice. I did the voice live actually while we shot that, because we wanted to improvise. So one of the things that makes my mask unique versus the other Scream Ghostface masks is my mouth is more oval and round, because it was elongated like the original Scream mask, but they couldn't hear me under the mask, and they wanted to record me live doing the voice. And so they cut that out after the second day and put black fabric in there, and that kind of like lost what was holding the elongation together, and now it kind of widened out. And plus I tied the mask really tight around my face because we were doing a lot of physical comedy, and I didn't want it to shift around. So it actually made what some referred to as like my Ghostface, the hero mask one, is sort of like the for the mask collectors, it's like the, you know, the holy chalice or whatever it is, you know, the golden chalice, because no one's ever made it quite right. No one's ever nailed it. So I basically, because I get masks sent to me going like, hey, I made a version of your mask, and I always send them a picture of the one I own, because I actually have it. I own the mask. And
it's awesome, man.
I kept the masks that I wore. And then what I was able to do, since they're getting old, they're like 22 years old, is I was able to, technology caught up, and now they can do these 3D laser scans and actually just copy anything. So I went to this place called Scan LA, and it cost me like a couple $100, but they made 3-dimensional models from a laser scan that's exact. And then from there I could do it with 3D print, and then I made molds. So now I have the ability to make molds of exact replicas of my masks. So, and I have those. Speaking of, this is a good plug, because you guys are in Vegas, so you should come down and say hi. I'm going to be at Nightmare Toys October 1st in Vegas there, and I'm actually going to have the replicas of my What's Up masks available there, you know.
Well, give me 1 second.
October 1st.
Nightmare Toys.
Yeah. I'll be there with Felissa Rose, my partner in grime.
Well, we'll be there. You'll be like, hey, I think you guys were those two nerds that were interviewing me. And then we'll be like, hey, that was us.
I'm taking a screen grab and making sure I put a like do not let in thing.
Right? Security alert.
Yes.
Do not let these ones in.
Stalkers. Wait, I don't know why I didn't pick it. There it is. Perfect. All right.
Oh, I'll probably be a little bit looking different though. So my birthday.
One of the things you probably recognized in the movies is you're like, he looks different in every. So, but so then the big sort of switch over to horror was because, you know, after Scary Movie, it was all comedies, whether it was, even though Ghost World says Ghost World in it, it was a comedy. And then there's Bubble Boy and Corky Romano and Windy City Heat and I'm sure I'm missing a boatload of weird films, but they were all goofy comedies. Oh, I did one called Frank McCluskey at Disney. Then it was till Devil's Rejects that Rob Zombie reached out to me via, this is how that all went down. Was I was in this film called Ghost World, and I played a character named Doug, and the Chili Peppers loved that character so much they put me in 2 music videos, and then Rob Zombie saw those and was like, he liked it as well. He liked me as well, and I had a meeting with him, and I got put into the Devil's Rejects. And when I shot that film, I had no idea who I was in the film with in terms of how many iconic horror actors were in that film.
Wow.
As well as like just cult classic actors, and also so many other comedians. That's what makes Devil's Rejects so awesome, is it's such a splattering of these hardcore horror actors, and then there's a lot of comedians in the film, and then there's a lot of crossover, because at the end of the day, I was sort of a crossover of a comedy guy and horror. So, because even in the horror films I always kind of have a comedic sort of on the comedic side of the horror movies, which is a necessity. I know I run into a lot of people at the signings where it's like, well, I don't like funny stuff in horror. I don't like the comedy. God. No, they say that, but here's the thing: what they don't realize, it's actually a necessity of horror movies, because the way you reset the human mind in order to get to the jump scares and the kills, and whether it's some sort of a torture porn or splatter gore or just a thriller or whatever it is, all of those things, the director or the filmmaker needs to reset you into some sort of normalcy. And by introducing comedy into horror, it allows it to happen much quicker, so that you can get more kills in, you can get more sort of thrilling stuff if you kind of can reset back to a norm, because you can't always be up here, because it's just
you'll die before the movie ends.
Yeah, you got to kind of have a settle down. And so having sort of comedic foil in the films definitely is a really quick and easy and usually cheap tool to kind of reset it. You know what I mean? Within the minutes. But that, after Devil's Rejects, then I did a 10-year reunion. That was in 2015 or something like that. And that's when I was sort of awakened to these horror conventions and saw the fans and saw, the possibilities and how awesome they were, and what a fervent audience base. They're so loyal, and they're really into their films. And so I just said, I want to do more horror movies. So I was not a fan. I was not a fanboy of horror movies. I certainly saw all the classics. And my favorite movies are horror movies, but they're the big tentpole ones that anyone else would say, oh, The Shining or Jaws, or the first Halloween. But since then, I've become more of a student of horror and a fan. I'm a filmmaker, so I'm a fan via the filmmaker. I'm a fan of making horror movies or trying to learn about them, and eventually starting to would want to make my own. You know what I mean? My favorite movie of all time is a movie called Angst. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it. There's killings in it, but it's all done by the guy strangling people or beating them, and it's just such a visceral,
Angst, OXCD.
No, Angst, like angst,
okay,
ANGST, I guess, angst. Yeah, maybe with an E. I think it's
check it out.
It's a foreign film from 1982, but the director of that movie, he just broke so many technological boundaries of camera work that back then, with these heavy rigs of 35 millimeter films, the stuff he was doing, they do today, but they do them today with little tiny cameras on jibs and, balance things, like Mobies and stuff like that. So now it's easy to pass a camera through a window and keep going. Plus you have digital. You're not going to run out in 11 minutes, and that thing, he had giant cameras going constantly, moving through and up and down alleys and up staircases, and you would never see a cut because you also had to time it to where there's something wiping across the screen. So
Yeah, I think what was I saw something. What was it? Jeepers Creepers was that the one where it had the big camera that came through and actually did do the flying through the sky. Then it goes through the bus window and then it went through there and then it came out. Everybody's like, "Holy shit!" Like, did you see like this camera work on that? And like Jeepers Creepers is one of our really great movies too. And so like when you talk about the camera work and everything like that, like no,
I love Jeepers. When I'm at conventions, though, I don't like it when they have the truck there or whatever, because it's got like Amber Alert like noise thing that it does every now and then. And it's like bam, bam, and I expect like what is, it sounds like some sort of like national weather alert or something like that, and it's just like, what's going on? Is there a hurricane? Because you're all over the place. I'm in Oklahoma, I'm in Texas, and where they have storms that'll pull the roof off, and I hear that thing, I'm like, God, turn that off, man.
Like, I don't know if there's a storm coming or if I'm going to be murdered.
Right.
Like,
which one I want either. So.
Exactly. No.
But, really quick, going to your guys' sort of reaction to me in that film, not knowing it was me. I guess there was no front credits or something. I don't know. But, or you never even heard of me before, I guess. I don't know. But there's another guy that does film reviews. I'll text you what it is, and I'll even send you the links. He's in England. I don't know if it's called Film Nerd or Atomic Nerd or something like that. He's got a pretty good following, but I wanted to see reviews of the films, right? And there was a couple films I was in, and he was like, the first one, he's like, oh, blah, 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 this film, it's okay, but you got to see Dave Sheridan. He's amazing. It's so funny. I mean, it's worth it just to see him. I found myself just, okay, the film's okay, but waiting for Dave to come back on screen. Then the next movie's like, on this film, it's okay. Dave Sheridan does a really good job. He's easily becoming one of my favorite B movie actors right now. Then this next movie I'm in, he watches it and he goes, I don't know who the guy is. It's playing the Exterminator. But
like, it is, man.
Now, really fun, and I want to just hit him up, going like, "It's the guy that you said was your favorite actor."
Been freaking following,
yeah.
Man.
So I don't even know how he didn't know it was me, because I don't change that much. And the one I get all the time is in Victor Crowley. Have you guys seen Victor Crowley?
I have. It's been a while, but I saw it.
So in Victor Crowley, I play this character Dylan. And I'm in the whole movie. I'm kind of the main guy. And at the end, I kill Victor Crowley. I'm like the hero, right? And I go to these conventions and I have a picture of me as Dylan from Victor Crowley. And people come up going like, oh, I didn't know you were that guy. This is my favorite movie. I didn't know you were that guy. And in Victor Crowley, I look like myself. I'm not wearing glasses or a funny mustache or nothing. It's just me and my hair. And I don't know how. Oh, that's not me, and but Felissa told me, she was like, that's because you never look like you in any movie, so therefore I don't know what you look like when you are looking like yourself. So
is all of the what do you call it, all the facial hair and the hair, is that really you? You said you're wearing funny mustache and stuff like that. Is it all
90%? Yeah, I would say 90%, 99% of the time it's my hair and my beard. I don't think I've ever worn any fake facial hair because I hate it. Early on when I was making my own little films in the 90s, like 1990, and I was only, 20 years old, I probably couldn't grow a nice thick mustache, so I would put prosthetics on for myself. But they're annoying. They don't stay on, they'll sweat off, and you can't, if you're making some face, they don't stay on. So most of the facial hair is always mine. And I don't think I recently just wore a wig at this last film I just did because I wanted the guy to have this like frosted hair, but it was like a 1-day shoot. And I'm like, I am not going to go through all that for that. And I found a pretty cool wig, but I was also kind of playing, in my mind, the character was wearing a wig because he was just a real flamboyant guy that was, decided to wear a wig because he didn't have hair underneath,
there you go.
But yeah, most of the time it's my hair, and I usually have to, that's why I don't cut my hair. I just recently cut it for a role, but usually I just let I let the beard grow and let the hair grow until someone else has another role, and then I have a lot to work with.
It's like we're looking for a cool dude that can make some funny jokes that has a beard and
Yeah.
hair.
I know
That's
you
basically
right. I wonder where my wall. I know you guys don't. You're not going to show video, but
we always pretend we do. We're like,
Yeah.
oh, Anthony, you're wearing a suit today. Nice job, man.
show you like my. See if I can find. Oh, here it is. This is my. Here's my license. I have to travel with when you're asking like, oh, what because I'm always growing my hair out and stuff like that. This is so that's
Good God.
Wow, that's a lot of hair.
Yeah,
That is amazing.
That's what I have to go through TSA with like once a week, and tell them like, oh yeah, that's after the accident, So
it's mine's kind of similar. Like I have a really, really thick hair, and so like for my entire life, I've just shaved my head, and so then every once in a while, I'll go through these like little, spills where I'm just like, you know what, I'm gonna grow my hair out for like 6 months, and my hair grows out like really quick, and so like my brother actually, he's like, dude, do you want to like, officiate my wedding? And so I was like, all right. So I grew my hair out and I grew my beard out, and so I just had a hair and a beard, and then his wedding is in October. My birthday's the end of September. So I had to have my license renewed with just a big scruffy beard and my my hair. And so then my hair is going to stick like that because my license is still 4 more years. I have my license.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, it's not as amazing as that picture that you just showed us.
I can't help myself to do something funny in all my licenses. It's just that I've been doing that since I was like 20 years, since my first license. I mean, there's one where because I was surfing every day and I had really long hair and I put in these like fake teeth and a neck, and I had a beard, fake teeth and a neck brace, and I just looked like a caveman because the way the photo came out, it made me so much darker. Like it just was like, what the heck is this guy? So that's a funny. One day I have to put them all online. You know what I mean? I might have like, and it was never a problem until after 9/11. Then after 9/11, then early on in the 2000s, I ran into problems at airports because I didn't look like my license. Now they just look at me and go, ugh. And I only had the problem maybe once in the last year. And Felissa was like, you don't know who this is? Just let's Google your name. And we Googled my name, and then all these other pictures came up, and the lady was like, okay, all right, I understand. You're a fucking asshole. I get it.
You just did this.
Yeah.
So no, my what do you call it? I was telling Anthony the other day, like my birthday is the end of the month. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna dye my hair like, silver fox it, dye my hair, my beard, so I look like I just have just a whole head of gray and a whole beard of gray. Right. So in October, you're gonna be like, hey, didn't you have black hair earlier? I'll be like, that was me.
I'm not gonna recognize you. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go in with like a cane and be like, dude, I'm old now. Here we go.
Gray hair is a process, because first you strip all that color out, and then it's not one process. They're gonna have to strip it all out. Yeah. I dyed my beard. But unfortunately it's on this phone. For this movie coming out in like 3 weeks. It'll be on Netflix. It's called The Curse of Bridge Hollow. And this one's a comedy. Actually, I think the producer just said the trailer's coming out next week. The Curse of Bridge Hollow is a Halloween comedy. Okay. It's not, I would not call it a horror at all. It's more like Jumanji, Night at the Museum meets the Goonies.
Nice.
And basically how these lawn decorations, these Halloween lawn decorations are getting bigger and bigger and crazier, and they're animatronics and they blow smoke, they move and stuff when there's motion detectors on them. And they're at like, Walmart and Home Depot, and they're like Spirit of Halloween. They're like $500, $399. I mean, there's some that are like $800, like the giant headless horseman with the horses and the carriage. It's insane. Those big
skeletons that were really popular a couple of years ago.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that one's one of the big skeletons is in our movie. This movie's about all the lawn decorations coming alive on Halloween night and attacking and parents. Nobody knows what's going on, and the parents have to like fend for themselves and stuff like that and fight them off with weed whackers and leaf blowers and shit like that. So
You think it's kid friendly?
Well, there's not a lot of gore. There's no like arms getting yanked off. It stars one of the girls from Stranger Things, Priya. Her name's Priya. I think she plays Sandy. Maybe I can't remember.
Wow.
No, we usually throw out a movie. Like we usually go trick or treating for a little bit, and then we'll set up shop out front, and we'll put a movie on our garage door.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, so I'm just like, dude, we need to come up with another movie. First it was like, what, Addams Family, then Addams Family 2, and then I think there was a Hubie Halloween. I don't know if we watched that one out in public because I don't want our neighbors to be like, oh, that's inappropriate. Be like, come on.
Right.
If you really want me to get it, I'll put on some, bloody summer camp. And we'll talk to the chef. We'll put the chef scene on loop of him making this.
Be too much? I mean, because that doesn't get too crazy, Beetlejuice. Or do you feel like that is like?
I think parents these days and their kids.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he's wearing striped pants.
Yeah, you never know.
Him.
You never know. Right. But yeah, that's coming out, and then the next film we're doing, Felissa and I, it's called New Fear's Eve, and that just launched as an Indiegogo. Right now, it's running, and so if anybody's listening to this, because I think that goes until mid-November, go check out New Fear's Eve on Indiegogo, and there's ways to pre-order DVDs and buy other things and just help fund the movie. There's even options to act in it or get killed in it, and I have a blast because a lot of people are very like, I have a lot of actor friends that are like, I will never do an Indiegogo, but I think it's the quintessential millennial way that is the answer to independent filmmaking. It's the way to raise money to get to filmmakers to try to get money to make their films. And it's also a way for independent filmmakers to connect with, more name-oriented actors and be able to pay them to come out, because you got to pay actors. And then themselves, it's a way for them to get involved and support it. And it's sort of, if it doesn't go well on Indiegogo, then you kind of see that the interest wasn't there. So it's almost a pre-marketing test too. That's what I tell the filmmakers that have launched this one, this New Fear's Eve. I tell them, like, the customer's always right. So people are on Indiegogo, they know what they're looking at, and if they feel like this is something they want to see, they're going to back it, especially on the pre-orders of the Blu-rays, because that just right there is somebody saying, I want to see this movie, I'm going to buy it, because when sometimes there's a lens company that's designing a new lens, and if you're a filmmaker, you're like, I want that lens, I'm going to support it, I'm going to give them money ahead of time so they could make the lens, and then it gets delivered to me. What I like about the Blu-rays, because speaking of the movie we brought up earlier, what was the film called? Bloody Summer Camp?
Yeah.
So that was an Indiegogo film, and actually Dave Kerr is helping us with this Indiegogo as well, like in terms, because he really understands the audience, because he is a horror fan himself, and they did a lot of pre-sales on their DVDs, and that shows that there's interest in the movie. To me, as the producer, I'm like, well, that's interest in the movie. But the one thing I didn't get until a little bit later, that now I'm on Indiegogo and I'm buying these Blu-rays all the time off these films, is because as a collector, you're getting a first edition Blu-ray that's never going to be the same. Like, this is the one that's made for Indiegogo, and then when it gets released, it's going to be a different artwork.
Oh, yeah. They do all the editing and more stuff.
More editing, whatever it is. And then also you have the cast signing it. So then you, like for this one on New Fear's Eve, you're getting Felissa, myself, Elsie Holt, Cheney Morrow, Hannah Fearman to sign it. And so those autographs alone, collective, are worth something, on top of you getting a unique limited edition, first edition Blu-ray that the artwork is different. Because I actually have my Bloody Summer Camp, and it was released by Gravitas. I've got the one from the Indiegogo, which is completely different. There's the deleted scenes or the bloopers are on this one, and also my name is not even on this Blu-ray. My name's on the one that came out on Gravitas, the one that they did for Indiegogo. I don't have my name anywhere on there, and there's a reason, because Dave shot Bloody Summer Camp in like 3 parts, maybe even 4 parts. He shot it over time.
Oh yeah,
That's right. You mentioned that.
yeah.
So Melissa worked on the first section of that movie. She worked 1 year before me, and she's the one that told me. She goes, "I had such a great time on this movie, Bloody Summer Camp. I think it's going to be great, and they're just great people to work with." And I said, "Oh well," and she goes, "Dave loves you. Like, you should, would you want to be in it?" And I said, "Tell him to contact me." So a year later, then he's like, "I'm getting ready to do a second round, and I think I have ways of putting you in the film." I said, "I'm in." And so then he did another round of Indiegogo. So when I got the set to sign these Blu-ray DVDs, they were already printed a year ago. Not the disc, because the disc wasn't out, but the insert was printed a year ago from when Felissa was out there and other actors signing. So I signed an old insert that didn't even have my name on it. So to me, that's what makes, if you're a DVD, I say DVD, I guess you're supposed to say Blu-ray. I now refer to Blu-rays as DVDs. So, but if you're a media collector, a physical media collector, getting the first edition, these collector items off of Indiegogo is worth the price, is worth the markup, because it's immediately worth more. Maybe some of them won't be, but you're bound to get a cool one, every now and then. That's like, wow, look at this. So
Exactly. You could have just done, what's that? The upwards arrow, and then put your name in it, and then be like, "No, I was in the movie. I promise. Like,
I know.
I was the guy." No, that's awesome. I didn't know.
Like not being anywhere on the cover, because then I could just scribble my name any way I want, instead of actually like paying attention to how I'm signing it. I was like, yeah,
Right.
no one's gonna know who this is anyway. So
Like, who was that person? But then it's going to be, people like Anthony and I that we're just like, dude, Sheriff Wilmore, man, amazing. And then,
oh, thank you.
No, and then even like when we were talking, we did, lucky enough, we had another interview with David. Dave Kerr,
yeah, Dave Kerr,
and we were asking, even after we watched that episode, we asked him, where it's like, all right, so Sheriff Wilmore, like, were his lines written in? He's like, no, they weren't. Like, he just started going off on and like berating these people down the line and everything. Where it's like, so even on top of that, and I think Anthony, he'll chime in and say, at the very end, when you started just, I won't even spoil it. Anthony, take it.
Well, yeah, the when you get to the last 3 girls that you call them, God. Blair, Tootie, and Mrs. Garrett.
I know.
I just died laughing.
I know, especially it's such a cut down for the other girl to be called Mrs. You know what I mean? Look here, Blair, Tootie, and Mrs. Garrett. It's like literally like, Mrs. Garrett, fuck you.
Yeah.
I think like, what was it like? Did you ever hear about the one about the cousin that loved you so much she didn't know how to tell you? Like, it's like, yeah. And the one blonde girl was crying in the scene, so you saw that she was crying like as if she was scared of me, but she was laughing and holding in her laugh so hard, like, literally pissing her pants and tearing up. So when I got to her, it looked like, I'm like, "You got a problem? What are you crying about?" But really, it was holding in her laugh so much. So
I think even our episode, we were just laughing. We're just like, dude, holy shit! Like, this guy's amazing. And like I said, like, it was just bugging us so much. Was like, damn it, this guy looks so familiar. And then it just opened up everything. I think honestly, like, man, we watched that movie a couple weeks ago, and as soon as we found out it was you, like, I swear to God, I've watched. You did an interview on the red carpet when, what was it, Haunted House? No.
Yeah, Haunted House.
Yeah. And and you were even being funny with that interview, that lady. You're just like, I'm out here, but like everything. Like, I've gone through and I've watched Scary Movie. I watched that since we've watched the episode of Bloody Summer Camp. Just going back and being you were the recorder with God, what the hell? We always call him now the office guy.
Dave Keckner, my buddy Dave Keckner.
Yeah.
Yes, but we always call him by his office name.
Bill
Todd Packer.
Yes,
Todd.
Packer, Todd. You know, but yeah, even those ones, and then
That
Doofy.
movie, by the way, that movie, both a Haunted House 1 and the Haunted House 2, there was no script for those. That's all improvised. That whole
Wow.
I was just on the flight with Nick Swartzen, actually coming home from this shoot in West Virginia. He was doing stand up, and I look over and we're sitting across the hall, like, you know, in terms of like the aisle or whatever. So it's pretty funny. And I haven't talked to him in a few years. So now I said, "Oh, you were doing stand up," and I'm touring more with the conventions and shooting these films. So I said, "But I'm somewhere every other weekend." So I said, "Look, send me your." He texted me his little schedule. Nothing lined up except I am going to be home when he's in Oxnard, California. So if anyone hears this, then Nick was like, "Come out on stage in Oxnard, come up and play a character." So I think I'm gonna just crash the stage as Doofy at Nick Swartzen's the October 3rd or December 3rd show in Oxnard, California. So
Wow.
but yeah, like I had a ball like doing all those films. You know, going back to Bloody Summer Camp, another thing that they did that's also available on ours, because like I said, Dave Kerr is helping us with. He had a lot of success with name the character. So he was like, I don't own these names anyway. And so if he had people, you know, pitch in and say, for $250, I want you to name this character after my son or my mom or whatever it is. And two things happened on that. One is, well, the funny side of it was in that movie, the deputy was somebody's name, right? Somebody's weird last name. And I go to say his name. I look, we're just about to roll. And I go, all right, how do you say that name? Right. And Dave was like, I don't know. Somebody bought it and gave me that name. And I go, wait, you don't know how to pronounce that? Because
the entire time that we watched that too, we're just like, what the hell is that person's name?
Yeah, exactly. And I go, wait, nobody checked how to pronounce this guy's name? And they're like, no. And I go, but he paid. And I said, we got to say it right. Right. And people were looking online of how to say it. And there was no conclusion. Nobody had an agreement of how to say it. So I said, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to constantly get his name wrong. And one of those times, we're going to have to get it right. You know what I mean? If I just say it 15 times differently. And so that's where that came out. That's how that came about, that I didn't know his name, is how to pronounce his last names. Because we didn't know how to pronounce it, but I wanted to make sure we said the person's last name correct because they did it Indiegogo perk. But at the same time, they got the most out of their perk because they got a whole bit, you know what I mean, about their freaking name. So it worked out.
That's awesome.
And when I was doing that whole berating down the line of like, you know, Karate Kid and Pony Boy. And by the way, the thing was supposed to be in the 80s. So that's why I guess you guys caught on to that. That's why it was all 80s pop stuff, because the movie was. But they shot over the shoulder of those guys as they're tracking down me. And so they were all laughing, dude. That was the hard part. They were all like, I was in their face, but they were like, I actually looked past them, you know? So, but it was fun.
Yeah. We just watched Camp Twilight.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's okay. So that's going back to the Shudder shitter bin. That would be a perfect one to be like, oh, that's in the shitter bin, because the movie itself is you know what I mean? But it's actually got a lot of decent actors in there, you know? I mean, I mean, Vernon Wells is in the movie, Felissa. I think there's a handful of like known actors that could be funny sitting on a couch going like, what the fuck is this? You know? So, but I had a good time with that character though. That was another fun one. There's a big beard in that one. And then if you ever saw Cold-Blooded Killers, I've got this crazy hair and tattoos and stuff. We went and shot Cold-Blooded Killers like 2 weeks after wrapping the other film, the Camp Twilight. So I had that big beard, and then I was like, okay, I just want to shave big chops, you know, some other thing out of it. So I made it work twice, you know what I mean? Like, so
I used to work
That's
at a
yeah.
no, yeah. I used to work at a clinic where I grew my hair out, and then we had a week long Halloween contest, and every single day I would trim my hair shorter and then have a different beard and then have it. So by the end of the time, I think I had a cul-de-sac haircut, and I won the freaking trophy. I won 5 freaking days in a row. Nobody beat me in my Halloween costumes. Like I went all out. It was amazing. I've got the trophies upstairs in my office right now.
Wait, you got more than one trophy?
Well, you got different awards. The end of it, I got a gift card to, I want to say Starbucks or gift card somewhere, and then I got a trophy. What really pissed this guy off because he was new into the clinic, and he's like, "I'm going to be the best one here," and I was like, "New and coming into my clinic, and going to take over." So I got everything. We had obviously we had like the kids side of it, and then we had the adults and the employees side.
You fucking smushed that guy down so far. He was a patient at the clinic by the end of the week. He's like, I'm checking in. I can't beat the Halloween guy.
We had an issue with it. Like I was a sign language interpreter. And so before he came to the clinic, he sold hearing aids. And so I was like, instantly, like we have a problem with each other because I'm signing to you and you're trying to sell people hearing aids. So I was like, all right, here we go.
I like that you're sign language interpreter. Like I'm just kind of interpreting it. Like I don't know what he's saying, but he looks moving it around a lot.
Like no, he just said he'd give me $15, and there's like he didn't say that at all.
If that guy didn't have like toes for thumbs, he would be signing that right. But what he actually said was wrong.
Said
by the way, so my daughter does ASL, right? But it was more like she's not proficient enough in it. But I was on a Zoom call like this with 2 deaf people, and they were signing. And I said, but they got an interpreter that was a voice as they're talking. I hear a voice. But I said, oh, well, I knew the call was coming up and I knew they were deaf. So I said, well, okay, I'm going to get my daughter on. And so like, maybe she can sign to you some stuff I'm saying, just to like, kind of like make a little like, pathway of friendship. And the problem was on Zoom, and these guys were signing so fast in the Zoom, everything was a blur. And so she got there and she goes, I have no idea. I can't even see what they're doing, because it was just like, like this. And I was like, I'll go, I'll just listen to the guy's voice. The guy that was interpreting those sounded just like Bob Odenkirk, just like him, because I'm friends with Bob. And I even asked him, I go, is this Bob Odenkirk? Like I could see Bob just being like, I got nothing to do today. And I know sign language and just interpret.
Is this something he never told you that he knew?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I go, well, you sound just like him. If you ever, need a job where you're Bob Odenkirk's voiceover stunt guy, you know what I mean? Stunt voice. Bob doesn't come in Sundays.
We'll still get some phone calls every once in a while, or like, FaceTimes from like my family. It's like, Brian, how do you sign this real quick? I got somebody in here that we're going to talk shit to. And so we'll sign something to him. There's like, all right, whatever,
Oh yeah, yeah. So he doesn't know.
My wife works at a nice retail store. And it's like, there's somebody in here, can you see what they want? And so she'll FaceTime me and I'll see what's up. So it helps. It's fun.
I do that at conventions. I'll have people that use sign language to communicate. And I just want to say thank you or something. So I call my daughter and get her on FaceTime to say that for me or show me, you know what I mean? So, and that they like that. They, it's nice to be able to talk in someone else's language. You should try, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah,
what did you think you could be? I didn't make any of these movies. Nothing you've watched, I've directed or produced. If my name's on as producer, I'm usually just a producer because they can't pay me enough. So if they're not paying me enough, I say, well, then you got to make me a producer because I want some money somewhere eventually.
Right.
My work. But what did you think of Camp Twilight? What did you think of that one?
I thought it was fine, man.
Yeah.
It like I was telling Anthony that it has So Anthony and I, like, we always try to root for the bad guy, or if there's a reason why you're going to be murdered, then guess what? This is a good thing that you're going to be murdered. So I thought, first off, all those guys in that movie, were they teenagers, right? All those teenager guys, they deserved what the fuck came to them.
That's true.
So it's like, okay, good. They're all gone from them. It had some, like I was telling Anthony, like it has some great parts where it's like, that's where you root for the bad guy. Like, good for that guy.
Yeah.
Man, I thought it was good. For the most part, I think that we've only had, I think we told this, we've only had one episode where it was not a good episode. And so we deleted it and we ended up recording a different episode. But I think that, Anthony and I, like, we're not like film critics at all. Like my role in our podcast is I genuinely watch the movie and it is the first time I've seen it. And so, like, all of my holy shit, this person just got stabbed. Like, it's all like right there in the moment type of thing. It's not pre-scripted. It's nothing like that. So I don't think that we've seen like, bad movies. Like, I think that what's really good about the movies too is that if you can put yourself into those situations, and so Bloody Summer Camp and with the Camp Twilight, like those potentially, I mean, I've never seen some teenagers where it's like, hey, you want some extra credit this weekend? Go to this camp. But at the same time, you go to a camp, then there could be somebody that's going to murder you hiding in the trees.
Right.
So it's good.
Because some of the things that were early in that script got taken out. When I first read the script, I felt it was a little better. The kids were more like it wasn't a special ed class, but it was like a troubled youth class. You know what I mean?
For sure.
There was like a fight in the classroom, that whole like Blackboard Jungle kind of thing. Like, these were the bad students, and it wasn't extra credit. It was like, you're going to go to this thing or you're failing. You know what I mean? Like, you guys are going to do a retreat. That whole like Scared Straight kind of crap. You know what I mean? Like, the original film was more like, take them out and give us your cell phones and make them rough it and break them down. And that kind of went by the side a little bit, just because of the costs of doing something and setting it up and selling it. In terms of selling it film wise, acting, like, where do you show some of the brutality? Not meanness, but like, they just didn't want to be that rough on the kids, I guess. You know what I mean? They wanted it to be more like one of these slasher things where there's kids kissing and hanging out and getting half nude versus,
right.
You're feeling bad. I don't think Ranger Bob, I didn't feel like he died brutally, man. I was really bummed.
I know. I was super, super stoked. Like, I went and I got a bottle of Proper 12 because I knew that, Ranger Bob was going to come in. He was going to kick everybody's ass just like he did in Bloody Summer Camp. And then I drank that bottle of, Proper, and I was like, wait a second.
Yeah.
Like, he's no longer here.
I know.
I was like, where the hell was Ranger Wilmore? Where was Wilmore at in this one? But
Wilmore don't fuck around.
Right? But Ranger Bob, man, Ranger Bob didn't even get to go into the bathroom and see what happened.
You should. I played a lot of sheriffs, a lot of deputies, so you should put the Walking Deceased on one of your plays. Have you seen that one, The Walking Deceased?
I saw it at the top of the list.
Yeah, I saw it listed.
Yeah,
we haven't watched it yet.
I think you guys will like that one. It's good. I like it. It's fun. We didn't have a lot of money to shoot that one, but that one was a lot of improvising as well. Anytime there's not money for gags, then the only way to get jokes is talking jokes. So it does involve a lot more improvising and, doing like funny stuff versus the actual physical gags that cost money. You know what I mean? Because physical stuff costs money. So, and in a horror movie, they have to spend the money. They'd rather spend it on the heads getting decapitated or brains being blown out, and stuff like that. So,
yeah, I think Anthony and I too, like, we'll watch some movies where the gore is just like completely like off the walls, Where like
Right.
some of the ones like, Camp Twilight, I don't think that the gore was, it was like, I want to say like realistic, like you got stabbed to the chest. Like, yeah, that shit could probably happen,
Yeah.
but you
Yeah.
go get stabbed in the stomach and your head explodes. You're like, oh, I don't think that works.
Yeah.
Like,
True.
you know,
True. I personally like over the top gore though, because I think it's just fun to watch
yeah,
tons. I like gallons of blood. You know what I mean? So
yeah. There might get, depending on what movie and stuff like that. Like if somebody got stabbed in the stomach, I think there was one scene where somebody got stabbed in the stomach, like barely looked like it scratched her, and then she sat there and that stuff was just in her mouth. And you're just like, she's gonna puke, she's gonna puke, she's gonna puke. And then finally she's like, and spits out the blood that came out. It was there was the not so popular girl that scratched the jock's arm. And then there was the middle girl. I think it was the middle girl that ended up spitting out all that stuff. And you're just like, spit it out already. That, like, I don't know what that is, but it can't taste good. Like, you just got stabbed. Spit it out.
Here, spit it out already.
Right. But no, like you mentioned that you cut out some stuff at the beginning. Like, you can tell though at the beginning of it when they're in that class. I was like, okay, we're coming to here, and then all of them are trying to like act like they're all tough. You're just like, oh, you guys are the assholes in this school. I'm glad you guys are going to get murdered.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anthony.
Yeah. It's fun.
Yeah. So, do you have anything that I know that you said that you are coming out with, was it New Fear's Eve?
New Fear's is the one on Indiegogo right now. The next movie to be released is The Curse of Bridge Hollow. That's on Netflix. The weekend of October 14th and 15th is when it drops. Wow. And then I just wrapped a movie called two movies. One called Dark Archives with Tommy Sizemore and Daniel Roebuck. It's the werewolf movie. It's a Catholic priests fighting werewolves, and then the movie I just came off of with Felissa, I just flew back yesterday, was called Macabre Mountain. And that's like, imagine like The Hills Have Eyes and Deliverance meets The Haunt.
Good God.
Like, it's a haunt in this shitty little town in West Virginia. And Felissa plays a character not too far off of herself who's been hired to do a signing there. And I play her manager that got her this really crappy job in the middle of nowhere. But then I leave. I'm like, I got to go. This is Kane Hodder. I got to go take care of him. And then basically she ends up in, a haunted house from hell. But it's really like the shittiest, this is a true story. Not that part's not true, but how we found the haunted house was the guy who reached out to us going like, I got this haunted house I made in West Virginia. It was my grandmother's house and we were going to bulldoze it, but I decided to make it a haunted house. So the house itself, the scariest part to me of the house is just walking into the thing, worrying that if the house itself is just going to collapse with all the people, because it's just doesn't look like it should have any occupancy, certificate of occupancy. It should not have. So like,
take this real fear and put it into your movie.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a skeleton costume jumping out and stuff, but at the same time, I'm more worried about the 2x4s rotting away.
Right.
The termites are staying in this house.
The guy's jumping out, like looking around, like, okay, I'm gonna kill you now.
Right.
As long as the house doesn't kill me.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, I'm taking all these notes, man. So far, 1, 2, 3, 7 movies that we've talked to. 6 movies. And we're going.
Yeah.
Wow. Anthony?
Yeah. I think we covered a lot. Yeah.
If there's another movie, just sort of like, I don't know if you've checked this one out, that I recommend to the audience in terms of these B movies, the berated B movies, because I think I think I'm probably 1 out of 5. 1 out of 5 is a decent movie. One film out of 5, I think, every 5th film I make in these low budget things come out okay, and the rest are like, I'm not certainly like, I wouldn't, I don't know, like I'm always proud that of any independent filmmaker that gets a movie made. They're all hard to make, but at the same time there's limitations, and there's just the biggest aspect is a lot of filmmakers, independent filmmakers, I think the biggest mistake they make is they rush it. They rush it out. They want to get it done. And what they should take advantage of with Indiegogo is they don't have any financer going, I need the movie. I need the movie. You got my money, and I need to turn around. I need to make money on it. That's usually a reason why something gets rushed. But if you've got more time, then take your time in post, make the edits tight, fix the audio, do what you can. If you need to go back and reshoot a kill, then try to do it. But so some of these guys just want to get the movies out. And also on the flip side, on the other side, sometimes they're shooting a second draft versus their 11th draft of the script. So I think a lot of movies need to take more time to be written. Instead, you can't write a movie in 3 months and say, we're going to make this film. It takes a couple of years to really craft a great script. But with that said, there's a movie called The Special. And have you guys seen that one?
We were almost going to do that as an episode.
Hell yeah. Not almost.
Yeah.
That one's good. I like that film a lot. It came out great. Really nice, tight, small film, small cast. That's a film where there's only like very little moving parts. It's like 5 or 6 actors. So it's well done. And I had a good time shooting that one.
Yeah, we were thinking we couldn't decide if we wanted to do, well, we're obviously going to do The Special, but which one to do first. And so it was my decision to grab a bottle of Proper 12 and do Camp Twilight just because of Ranger Wilmore. so we're like, dude, what's up? Yeah. So Ranger Wilmore, because of Ranger Wilmore, I was like, dude, if he's playing another Ranger in this movie, he's going to be just as big of a hard ass as it was. He's going to save the day.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I think, man, so we have a few drinks during our podcast, and I was like, this is what we're doing tonight, because we're going to cheer for, Ranger Bob, because I know it's in him. He can do it.
He could come back. I don't know.
He could.
Unless
he will.
I mean, I think anybody can come back. In Victor Crowley, I tossed myself into a airplane engine, and I'm completely juicified, so I don't know if he can come back, but
always.
Yeah. I mean, I took a machete to the back like multiple times and through my heart, but if they could sew a big toe on for a thumb, I think they can put like a gallbladder in for a heart. I think we can do it.
You only need half your liver. That half the other liver, you can hollow it out and then put that as a lung.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
Yeah, learn how to. They could develop gills for me. I'm like a fish man or something. So
yeah, I've seen Waterworld.
I'll tell you a good one. I like my role. A Big Freaking Rat. That movie is not even a B movie. That's like a D movie. It's like, but it's supposed to be. It's a giant. It's called Big Freaking Rat. You know what I mean? It's a giant rat in a campground. I mean, and it's meant to be kind of goofy and large and stupid, I guess is the word. So it's meant to be like a Roger Corman send up kind of movie. So but my character is really funny in that film. If you check that one out, that's a good one.
Right. So if we do like special, I don't know what your timeline is. I know, you're traveling a lot, promoting other things. Would you be open to jumping on again and, joking around with us with any of these other ones?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Yeah. I'd love, awesome. And I try to do something where we watch it together, and I can commentate. I'm down to do that.
That'd be awesome.
If you guys could check, it took us 3 times to figure out how to get one of these.
We've had, it's honestly how many interviews have we done? Like 5. I think the first one.
Yeah, about 5.
The first one was kind of odd, because we couldn't talk to the director, be like, no, look, if you mute this one, but then keep this one going. And it was just opposite. So, I mean, it got it, but you know.
Did you
Uh,
did you guys reach out to Felissa Rose? I think she said you might have. I
Yeah,
don't
we
know.
have. Just hasn't responded yet.
Okay. Was it via her email?
It was Instagram.
Oh, Instagram. Yeah, that's probably hard because she's got so many followers and stuff like that. I'll forward you her email. Because I did mention it tonight, and I think she said Dave Kerr already mentioned it to her or something like that. So yeah, you should try to get her on before October 1st, so that you could talk about any one of these films. I mean, she's in so many. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
mhm.
You know, for her, you should watch the Cold Blooded Killers. It was actually called Killer Rose. She's like the lead character in it. It's kind of like her. You know, that one is like bounty hunters. It's more of a grindhouse movie. But we've got some great. Her and I are nemesises in that movie. It's another one is that you could watch maybe and have her on would be Scream Test. I don't know if that's on that list at all.
I think I
But
saw that when I was looking through.
yeah, that one we shot in Florida, and it's basically she plays a scream queen that in the opening of the movie loses her voice and then has to go to this island to recuperate. She can't talk. And then all these murders start to happen. And then it becomes clear that all the murders are from her previous movies. Like there's a copycat killer fan of her films. It's like a 10 Little Indians where there's no way off the island now because the guy with the boat and the radio's damaged. The guy with the boat's dead. So we're all trapped. And as it narrows down to just a few of us left, well, that it's also like which one of us is the killer kind of thing, you know. So
Awesome. But I mean, we definitely like to do like commentary episodes because we've been kind of working towards that, getting away from just making fun.
yeah,
Like we narrate. No, I don't think we'd go super hard on them. I think our making fun of them is not making fun of the movie itself, but making fun of like what do we do? Deep Red. We did Deep Red with
Dylan Reynolds.
Dylan Reynolds.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, look at those suits, man. Like those suits look seriously like they're clothes. You know, that's how the stuff that we made fun of.
Right.
You know, and I'm like, oh God, this movie sucks, you know. Like we don't really we're not like I said, like we're not like film critics at all. Like we enjoy watching the movies and then we talk through them and make our jokes. Yeah. What's even funnier is we'll have, like I said, like random people will reach out and then give us like messed up comments like, really guys, you guys said this on your episode, like you guys are assholes. You know, or you guys are, you know, that's not how it works. Somebody reached out and like apparently the Flamingo is still open and there's like, Brian, learn your history. Flamingo's still open, man. I'm like, sorry, I drank too much that night.
Well, it's the new Flamingo, and it's actually like it's still an old piece of shit Flamingo. Oh no, I'm thinking of Stratosphere. The Flamingo is open, but they redid it. So
I think there's one that was like right by.
Yeah,
like by Bally's.
All the old name hotels the real ones have been destroyed, and they rebuild some sort of crappy new version. You know. I could see a film. My brain is churning, so I'll credit you guys. I want to do a thing where it's kind of like Clerks, you know, like a Clerks thing. The two guys that berate movies, you know, they're the Monday, you know, the Sunday lounge quarterbacks or whatever, you know, whatever they call them. You know, just like on the sidelines, just being nothing but like, you know, well, what do you have to offer? You're just being these terrible critics to these horror movies or whatever, but then they have a killer that wants to kill them because it's like, you know, is it a director that they bashed? Is it just a fan? Is it an actress? You know, like, or maybe there's like 15 people out to kill you, you know, like, oh fuck, we should have never started this podcast. Light cut out, you don't know what's going on.
Yeah, but I think we've always said it too. You know, even when we make our jokes, just like, dude, at the end of the day, they are doing a million times better than we ever could. Like I told one of them, I was like, I had a camcorder when I think it was like my first year in college, and I've got like a younger brother and like two younger sisters, and we would we put on the Scream mask, and we're like, when my sisters were asleep, like we'd like kick open the door and be like, "Oh," and scare them and the dogs. And that was like the most filming that we've done. So
Wow.
nothing cool at all. Yeah, nothing amazing, nothing even. I think I just found the tape and I sent it to my family. It's like, why do you still have that? Like, you probably should have threw that away, like, years ago.
Right,
But,
right.
yeah, everything. But yeah, well, if there's any, like I said, we'll check out some of these movies that you gave us. Like, I appreciate all the movies,
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to throw you the B movies they're more like the D movies, but plus I like the ones that people haven't seen. I know you probably haven't seen them, so it's good to not see something. Go, okay, it's that, So you're going into the deep cuts. You know what I mean? The deep cut.
Yeah.
But I enjoy it. I enjoy making horror movies. It's fun. It's laid back. The sets of horror movies, especially low budget horror movies, they're fun and they're quick too. They usually shoot in like 13 days. So there's not, I mean, a lot of times I might only be on for like 3 days or 2 days. So you get in, you get out. It's, no skin off my back, but there's skin off someone's back at some point.
There you go. And then you mentioned, Nightmare Toys, October 1st.
Nightmare Toys. Yeah, if I could just plug that again. Nightmare Toys, come and say hi in Las Vegas, October 1st. I'll be there with my scary movie, Ghostface.
Do you know where it's going to be held? Do you know where it's at? By the convention center? Do you know where?
It's at Nightmare Toys, like in Vegas. I don't know where the address.
Oh,
okay.
That was the name of it. All right, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Nightmare Toys is a store where they sell like a lot of Halloween, stuff, masks and horror stuff, anything horror, all things horror.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. It's over by Old Town. It's over by the Old Town part. So I don't know the name of that neighborhood, but look it up. I'm sure it's pretty easy to Google. And then also please go by, if anyone's listening to this, go check out the Indiegogo campaign, New Fear's Eve, and with Felissa and myself, and see if there's a way to jump in. We'd appreciate it, and we'd like to get that film going. Obviously, that takes place on New Year's Eve. It's a play on. So I don't think it's hard to figure out what the movie's about. So,
that's awesome, man.
Cool, man.
All right, thank you.
And just reach out to me. Let's do another one. Let's talk about another film.
Oh yeah.
Right.
But I was gonna ask. I know there were a couple I found on the IMDb page, but I couldn't find anywhere. I didn't know if they were out yet or not.
Ooh.
Was Time's Up? Was it Massacre Academy and Pretty Boy? Okay,
so Pretty Boy, I thought Pretty Boy was out. Maybe it's not. It will be coming out. I thought it was already out. Time's Up is coming out this holiday. That's also a New Year's Eve horror movie. It's just different because it takes place around high school kids, and there are teachers involved too. But it's not like the other New Year's Eve one we're doing is like literally on a big New Year's Eve party, like a crowded office party, where like it's almost like Die Hard set at a New Year's Eve party with killers instead of terrorists. And another great film coming out probably next year is called Stream, made by the Terrifier guys. Terrifier 1 and 2. It's their follow-up. Terrifier 2 is coming out like October 8th or something like that. I'm not in that. Felissa's in it for a little bit. And then that's how I got to meet the guys. And now I'm in their next one called Stream. And I think we're going to be making Terrifier 3 soon. That'll be probably really the next one up. Stream was already shot like a year and a half ago. Yeah, but what was the other one you mentioned?
Massacre Academy.
All right, Massacre Academy is done. It's just not released, but that's a perfect example of because I actually had I could dig it out, but that's a cool movie too. By the way, that one came out great. I'm really proud of that one. I play a really sadistic killer in that one. I'm not funny in that one. I'm not funny at all. But the movie itself has a lot of humor. It's interesting that I'm super dark and creepy in it. I play like Carney, the killer. And, I'm like a janitor that's been like picked on at this college. These sorority girls prank me, kind of like Carrie getting pranked, and I just flip and I just kill this sorority house. Just slaughtering all these, girls in bikinis and underwear running around, and me cutting them open. So it's a lot of fun. And that one, the only way to get it would have been to get the Indiegogo DVD, and because people that got that have been sitting on this film. I'm surprised it's not loaded up somewhere online for free at this point. But there was 2 producers in that, and they weren't seeing eye to eye, and they both control the property to get released.
Oh.
And they're not talking right now. They're not behaving with each other. So it's stopping that film from being released, which sucks, especially since I feel like I did a great performance in it. I would love for people to see it. So hopefully someday. But again, like, I got the DVD off of Indiegogo, the Blu-ray, so I have it. Maybe I'll come out there and I can make a copy of it, and when I see you guys October 1st, I'll give it to you.
All right.
There you go.
Thank you.
Off of you.
Yeah.
For $200.
I was about to say, how much do you want for a copy of it? Yeah.
You're going to be in the old man gray hair outfit. When I give you the copy, I just want you to scream like a girl, like the Beatles, like, "Oh my God, oh my God."
All right. Everybody will come up and look.
Yeah. You have
Yeah.
you promise me. You're like, "I wanted this for so long. Oh my God, thank you, Dave Sheridan."
All right. We'll come out and do it.
Pull that off, you get it for free,
All right. Yeah. We had we're doing a musical horror, and we asked the fans, we're like, "Do you want us to do this?" It's like, "Yeah, and sing during it." We're just like, Jesus. So apparently we're going to be doing, what's the name of it?
Repo the Genetic Opera.
We're going to be, so apparently we're going to be singing through that episode. So that's going to be a great time.
I've never seen that one. I've never seen it, so I got to check that one out.
I think I've seen it once. That was a while ago.
I've been wanting Felicity to launch like a Broadway play musical on Sleepaway Camp. Sleepaway Camp the musical would just be phenomenal.
That would be good.
I think it would be really good because of the story that's being told would be so cool. But the other thing is, in that film, you don't really get inside Angela or Peter's head too much because it's eternal. But since everybody knows the film now, there could be musical numbers that open up her head a lot more, and sort of like what's driving that character, So,
oh yeah.
But in a kitschy kind of Charlie Brown the musical way, or Manson Family the musical. I would probably say it's more like Manson Family the musical. That I don't know if you guys ever seen that one. That was on Broadway for a little bit. It's a lot of fun, because it's also 80s too. The Sleepaway Camp set in the 80s, so the music would have that 80s vibe.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. All right. Well, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And let's check back in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
I'll send you contact. You can get a hold of her and have her on the show, and then have me, or we can do the show together. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
That'd be fun. So, if you watch Cold-Blooded Killers or something, like, because we're both in that, like, watch a movie that we're both in, which is almost every one of the movies. Almost every one of these movies we're both in, because she produces mostly all of them. So
awesome.
All right, man. Thank you so much.
No, thank you, man. We appreciate it, taking your time out and meeting with us.
Thank you.
All right. We'll see you in a bit.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the podcast. We are available on Apple, Google, Stitcher, and Spotify. Give us a like and subscribe if you like what you're hearing.